Okay. Now, there's two of you. I have Instagram Live, and I'm live in my Facebook group as well. So if I look back and forth like this, it's because there's two of you. So these are ways that you can grow and transform and just become the new, beautiful you after the narcissist. These people do a lot to tear you down, and they can be very powerful. And because they're scary, and they use fear and other things to keep you under control and make you forget who you are. Basically, like I really and truly forgot who I was after these people fooled with me so much. So rebuilding yourself after somebody like this does this kind of damage is can be a really tough journey, and that's why I'm here to try to make that better. So I'm going to look at the list of things I wrote earlier. And I do this kind of intuitively. I don't script this stuff. I don't, have a lot of layouts. Some stuff I plan out, some stuff I don't, but things like this what we're doing right here, this is all intuitive. I'm just coming up with this as we go. But I came up with this list. It sounds good. It's things that I had to do. It's things that I've achieved. Took me a bit longer than 12 weeks for me to do it, but also didn't have any help. So this is what can happen in 12 weeks with the right coach. You can have a clear view of yourself and your worth, and no one can influence that besides you. Once you finally reclaim your identity, nobody can screw with that after that. Nobody can fool with that. No one can influence that. Nobody can change that. Nobody can make you second guess yourself. Nobody can make you think, oh, well, I'm not sure if that's what I'm into. Oh, I'm not sure if I can do that. Especially with capabilities and capacity and things like that, and confidence and knowing whether or not if you can do something. That, the narcissist really puts a dent in that, because they tear you down in such a way that they have you thinking that everything you do is wrong. They really do. And because they change your whole reality by telling you that everything about you is wrong, everything you've ever done is wrong. You're either misinformed or uninformed, or you just don't know any better. Bless your little heart, and it's like they're so awful with that. And they can have you thinking that every move you make is the wrong move. So having a clear view of who you are, what your life purpose is, your value as a human being and as a spiritual being, that is huge. Once you can start to build that and let yourself see your value and let yourself have a good view of yourself like you should, like you deserve to, all the other shit is null and void, period. And you will get to a point where nobody can make that waver. There's no one's opinion is going to matter, because it doesn't. Nobody can say any shit to you and have you thinking, oh, well, I wonder if that might be true. Should I worry about that? No, no, fuck that. You're fine. Don't let anybody fool with that. You're fine. So, reclaiming your identity like that is really huge. That is such a huge step. That's so empowering, because you're taking back all the things that are part of you, that you were either convinced you had to neglect or let fall away or ignore or change or alter in some way or another. And you don't have to. There's something wrong with you. And the narcissist will have you thinking that you just need to turn yourself inside out, and that's not necessary. You don't have to do that. So reclaiming that power and that identity is absolutely huge. You have a peaceful home, and no one makes you live in fear. This can be a lot of things, and I went over this in my online course as well. Living in a peaceful home is like the biggest thing ever. It's very, very important for your nervous system to be in a good environment where you don't have to be on edge all the time. You don't have to worry about when the next argument is going to be. You don't have to worry about, is the next thing you're going to do going to be the wrong thing? or the next thing you're going to say is going to be the wrong thing to say. All that shit goes out the window. Once you get away from the narcissist and you start rebuilding yourself, you're just like, you go up like a level, and that's a lot. And to live if you can get in a peaceful environment and you do whatever you need to do to feel safe. If you need to get things on the windows that go boom, window open, a bedroom window or whatever. I've seen those. They're really good. I think you can get them at Walmart. It's like, even if you live in an apartment and you can't like drill holes and shit, you can still get those things because there's no drilling involved. You can get the ones that just like stick on there. And if you need to tape them down, tape the damn things down. But you can get them on the windows, you can get them on the doors, and it might not be, if you live in an apartment, you're not going to be able to set an alarm system because obviously you can't do that there. But you can at least have a thing where anything opens, it'll be like door open, front door, or whatever, and even if you have a gun closet, you can get one on the gun closet, get yourself a dog, any kind of dog. If you live in an apartment, you can get a small dog, because the dog is going to hear somebody coming a mile away before you know anything. If it's 2 a.m. and somebody's fucking around outside the window and hasn't even touched it yet, let alone is climbing through, the dog's going to let you know immediately, period. There's not going to be any getting around it. Unless the dog's like super old and can't keep up and stuff like that, and then I'd suggest not getting that particular dog. You want one that's going to be lively and paying attention and alerting you. If you can't get a dog and you can't put anything on your windows, honestly, I would say take self-defense classes, and or if you can, get a firearm. If you don't have the money, ask for that for your birthday or Christmas or something like that, or have everybody put their money together. If they love you enough and want you to be safe, the people who love you and respect you and want to help you, if you can say, well, if there's one thing you want to do for me, everybody can pull their money together and just get me a good ass little gun and the supplies I'm going to need to go with it, the holster, the damn bullets, and the cleaning kit, whatever else. It's safe to put it in if you want that. So, there's ways to create a safe space for yourself so you don't have to worry about somebody busting in. There's ways to do it. And of course, if you live in your own house, you can just you can do all those things, but you can also put a real alarm system in there that goes go, whoa, 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 if something is open at 2 a.m. and that's even better. Because those things are programmed where the police call you and ask you what's going on and shit like that, if you don't disarm it in time. Only thing is, I do have to say that there was a documentary way back that where prisoners were being interviewed about their methods and stuff like that. And then some guys that had broken into houses and things, they said that if you break in and the alarm is going, woo, 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 you've got so much time until the police actually show up. Now, if the homeowner is armed, forget it. You don't have time. You can just die right there. But if they don't have any guns and it's just a hand-to-hand combat, you've got so much time. But if you go up to somebody's house and you think you're going to get your big ass through that window, and and some German Shepherd starts going immediately, there is no getting past him, because not only is he up, he's going to attack you, and everybody in the damn house is up now. But the dog isn't going to leave you alone. And in fact, he's going to chase you, because as soon as you get that window open enough to get yourself through, he's going to come out. So keep that in mind when you're shopping around for methods for the safe environment. And then besides the physical stuff, if you want to talk about energetically having a safe environment, that is more up to you, like as an individual. You can do whatever you want to do that makes it feel safe. I prefer things like I like good smells in the house. I like clean smells. I have a oil infuser I'm using right now. It's got lilac in there. I like that. I like up lights like this one, like this lamp, because like the lights going up, and that's more calming to me in a way, because it's not coming down in my face. It's in my face right now, but I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like it's going. So I don't know why. That's just like that creates such a better environment for me. And if you can get lights that have like, get the ones that have the soft yellow light like this, not the like blue white ones, because that's it's a little bit harsher on your eyes, like the blue light from the phone. You know how on some cell phones where you can I should do all my all my videos like that. On your cell phone when you can change the backlight to you change it from blue to amber. I have mine all the way on amber to make it easier on my eyes, because I don't want to go blind. I had to have LASIK once. I don't want to make it any worse than I was before. But things like that. Clean the house up wherever you live. Clean the place. Another way to feel safe for a lot of people is to get rid of old things, that the narcissist gave you or might have been attached to or used a lot or whatever. Get rid of it or change how it looks if you can. You can, of course, play music. When you get in from work, start doing things that like calm you down so that you can like decompress. And by the time, a couple hours later, when it's time to go to bed, you're calm and you're feeling good and your nervous system is relaxed and it's, you're not wired. Next. You are safe day and night from all the things, people, situations you used to lose sleep over. So once you make all those moves to make your environment better, you have to remind yourself, take yourself seriously and give yourself a pat on the back for the efforts you've made to make those maneuvers, to make those moves to give yourself a better environment. That's such a huge thing, your physical environment and how it feels. And people forget that. They come home, they're frazzled from work at 6 o'clock, they're hungry, your feet hurt, you're tired from dealing with damn people all day long. Your hands are dirty. You gotta wash your clothes. There's 10 things that need to be done. You gotta clean. You gotta figure out what you're gonna eat. And everything else. If you can come in and have the good home environment to come to, especially if you can get rid of clutter and shit like that, any kind of little stuff sitting around that's like making you nervous, whatever, you wouldn't believe how much better you feel when you just clean shit up and just get rid of the junk. It doesn't mean that you have to like throw out half your things, but just store them better. Store them better. Get storage things that like go under the bed and go under furniture and go under the couch and or behind the TV or whatever. Just, when you come home, the less junk there is to distract you and the less stuff that there is that your brain is having to like overlook to keep from stressing over it, the better you'll be. You want clean, open spaces as much as possible, especially if you live in a small place or a small apartment or a camp or anything like that. The more tidied up it is, the better you'll feel because you're already in a small ass space to start with. So, better storage can be huge, hugely beneficial. But after you do all those things, just sit down with yourself and just look around and think about all the things you've done to better your environment and think about how far you've come in your situation, and think about all the things you've done, all the moves you've made, and all the decisions and the choices you've made that have gotten you to this point, and how much better you're doing now than you were 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 6 days ago, whenever it was, that you started really making moves. And remind yourself how well you've done, and that you are in a new phase of your life, and there is no running for your life anymore. There is no living in fear. There is no coming home to arguments, or whatever the situation was. That chapter is closed. It's over with. Period. Done. Goodbye. It's done. So remind yourself of that and just say, you know what? I've come a long way. Because I was feeling like shit 6 months ago, and now all of a sudden I'm not. I've done a lot, And I would say the same for myself. My ass has come a long way in 6 months. Like, So, I mean, and I have to, pat myself and now and then just say, you know what? I've done well. Because, especially with the narcissist, they are so good to remind you how horrible you are and how you can't do anything right and all this other bullshit. And you forget that you do good things. You do good things. You do. That's why they're in your life, is because you're so good and they can't get enough of it. And they feed off of that shit. If you were a horrible person, they wouldn't waste their time with you. So you are a good person and you do have good qualities and you do good things. I don't know why I said do twice, sorry. But my point is, give yourself some credit for that shit, because you have made moves that have made a difference. I don't care if it's a little ass move. I don't care if all you did was buy one lamp for yourself and an oil infuser or some incense to make the house smell good. If that's one move that you made that turned out to be an improvement in some way or another, then you give yourself credit for it, damn it. And nothing less. So remind yourself of that, because what you're doing matters. What you're doing matters. The things you do for yourself are just as important as the things you do for everybody else, okay? So don't forget that. You have privacy, respect, and dignity. Okay, so here we go. Privacy. The narcissist, because they have no sense of self, they like to really enmesh with whoever they're torturing. And it's just weird that they don't see it as torture. So whatever boundaries you thought you had go bye-bye. And they just like mold with you, and like y'all just are supposed to become one person. And so they are up your ass. And that's putting it nicely. And let me tell you, there were times when I'd be pulling up to my own family home, my own driveway, and that black Tundra would be sitting there. And I would feel my head just getting hotter and hotter because I didn't want to because I was already pissed off, and he was making me feel like I was going to shoot myself. And I didn't want to be bothered, and I need time. I'm the type that needs time to cool down if I am pissed off. Leave me alone and let me breathe, because if you don't leave me alone, I'm going to take your head off. Just leave me alone, let me cool down. Well, he didn't want to do that. So we would argue, and I'd be screaming at him on the phone, and then he would show up to my house. And I was pulling my hair. I was baring my teeth. I was acting crazy. I was acting crazy because I had forgotten myself. I had totally forgotten who I was. I didn't even know who I was when I was around him, because he pushed me so far into directions I'd never been in before mentally, and but the times that truck was sitting there when I would come home after screaming at him, it's just unreal how the rage that went through me. The rage that went through me is just unreal. They just don't give up. They just don't leave us alone. So, the privacy thing, that's huge, because that's your autonomy and that is your personhood. And you're, as a human being, you're allowed to have privacy, period. You want to close your blinds? Close your damn blinds. You want to have a face recognition thing on your phone? Then have that. Why not? It's your shit. You know what I mean? So nobody should be shoving their heads so far up your ass that you're just all of a sudden not allowed to have any of that, And he would demand to go through my phone, and all the while he was married and kept telling me he was getting a divorce. Oh yeah, I'm getting a divorce. And I was stupid, and I bought it because I was trusting, and I didn't have any self-respect, and I listened to him instead of my instincts. And so that whole time he was still married anyway. And I didn't know that because I didn't investigate enough. And I trusted him. and he was demanding to go through my phone. And I said, you're not going through shit in this fucking bedroom unless you start paying for something. I said, you're not going through my phone unless you start paying my bill. And there he was, stretched out across the bed in the stupid Navy uniform, the stupid ass digital thing. And he had the nerve to look at me like I was out of my fucking mind. He looked at me like I was crazy, like I had two fucking heads. And I said, you're not going through this. If you can cough up $40 a month to pay for this Boost Mobile phone bill, you can tear my shit up. But until then, the answer is no. And he said, and he was like, are you fucking serious? Yes, I'm fucking serious. There wasn't anything in my damn phone except pictures of the jewelry I had made because I was selling it like fucking hotcakes at the time. I had just gotten online with my jewelry, and I was consigning my jewelry in 3 different local shops, and my phone was like exploding with jewelry sales. Like it was big. So that's what he would have found. But me explaining myself 10 million times didn't matter. So the privacy thing, I understand how huge that is. And when you have your own privacy to just be in peace, that's really big. So the privacy and the autonomy is huge. Respect. Okay, so your self-respect, people, and I've said this before, but people talk about self-love. Self-love, so you gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself. No, first of all, people who talk about self-love, they seem to not be able to tell you how to do that. I don't understand that. They're such a damn guru, but they'll spew quotes all day long, but they can't tell you how to start loving yourself. I'm gonna give you my perspective. This is how I did it. 1. You start doing little things out of self-respect. You don't have to say self-love. You know when you try to change your mindset and you try to tell yourself something different to try to like rewire your brain, and you tell yourself something different that you're not used to telling yourself. Like, I'm a good person, I deserve love, and I'm not going to waste my time with mongrels who, are here to just tear me down. But if you say, well, I deserve good things and I'm not going to settle for bullshit. If you're in the self-hatred zone so badly that sounds like foreign language to you that you've never heard before, and it's hard for you to start with that because it's too much, I understand that. So here's what I did. I started with little ass baby steps, with just little ass self-respect baby steps, little ass steps. You just got to build. You got to have one little foundation that you can build on. It doesn't have to be practical with it. If you need to be practical with yourself and say, well, that's too much. That sounds like I'm pushing it too far. That doesn't even sound right. Then don't do that. Start with something that you can handle. I do it all the time. Start with something that you can handle. If respecting yourself would mean cleaning up the kitchen so that you can go in your kitchen and have a nice place to prepare your food, and a clean stovetop or whatever, clean pots and pans to cook your little food on, you can sit down and eat and say, you know what, I respect myself enough to clean this kitchen and eat off a clean plate and have a good meal, because I can respect myself enough for that. Then start with that. Start with that. It doesn't have to be some you don't have to read some 500-page book on how to see yourself as a divinity if that's not where you are right now. You don't have to do that. Little ass steps is fine. So that's what I did. And I still do it all the time. I'm like, you know what, I respect myself and I love myself, so I'm gonna do this because I can. Because I deserve it. Period. And once you do that for a little while, give yourself some time. Give yourself I'm not going to give you a window of time because there's no rules for that. There's no rules for that. But give yourself some time, a few weeks, a few months, whatever it takes, to just see how that feels, to get that as part of your routine. And you can really see some changes. And then you'll get yourself to a point where you realize you don't accept shit from people. And that's when you've really made some progress, because you're you haven't taught yourself to do it. It's just happening naturally. And that's big because it's starting to happen within you on its own. So you want that. That's what you want. And you will get there eventually. You just got to keep doing it. But that's why I say the little steps makes it easier. And for me, it worked. So that's why I tell people to do that. Um, Dignity is kind of like the same thing, just like caring enough about yourself that you carry yourself a certain way and like set a good example. And you can tell yourself something like, you know what, like let's say you don't have close family, you don't have close friends, so in your mind you're alone and no one cares about you and no one's looking at you and no one gives a shit about you. That's never true. It's easy to feel that way and it's easy to start thinking that way because some people are awful. But that's never ever true. You're never totally alone. You're never totally alone. Even when you think no one's looking at you, there's always somebody somewhere looking at you. There's always somebody. So at times when I was, ready to give up, I would tell myself, you know what, there's somebody watching me who I'm not even aware of. Even if you don't have children, you don't have any family, you think you don't have anybody, right? When you leave your house and you go out in public and do something, someone is watching you. There's people outside. There's people where you're going. A child might be watching you. An old person might be watching you. Someone your age might be watching you. But someone at some point is going to observe you for like 3 seconds. You could be doing something that might impact that person's life. You might make a nice gesture or say the right thing or pick up a piece of trash and throw it in the trash can. Some 5-year-old might see you do that and remember that forever. Oh, I better keep the earth clean. Because we do need to do that, right? So you have no idea the little ass moves you make that you think aren't a big deal. Someone could be watching that you've never seen before and may never see again, who is going to take that and build on it. And you have no idea. So you can't ever give up on setting a good example or thinking about how you carry yourself and how you present yourself, because there's always a chance that there's somebody that it does matter to. And usually I like to think of children because the way they watch us so hard and the little minuscule moves that you make that impact them so greatly, and they remember that shit forever. So just think of that, and that will help you develop, dignity, or think about how you want to be remembered, Even if you don't have children, you don't have any direct descendants, other relatives, or like I say, somebody who isn't related to you or doesn't know you. You might have a neighbor that watches you and admires you and you don't know it, but you can have dignity no matter what, and don't let the narcissist make you think that you're alone, because you're not. It's never just you. Your life, it can impact you, obviously, and it will impact people that watch you that you don't even know are admiring you. Because everyone on this planet has a purpose and a meaning and a job here. And if yours is to set a good example and influence people to make good choices about something, or have integrity, or whatever it is, you'll figure that out eventually. But you do have a purpose here, and carrying yourself with dignity can be very influential to people that you'd be surprised that were watching you. So I like to try to keep that in mind. You have freedom and peace of mind. So like I say, the narcissist likes to have their head up your ass. They like to have you on a leash. They like to, watch your every move. And when I got rid of the last one, he was a doozy. He was the worst one by far. And when I got rid of him, like got all of his stuff out of the house, and he was like gone. I sat in the living room and I had a glass of wine, and I never drank before. I was like 27. I'd never drank before, ever. And I had a glass of wine, and I took that first sip. It was sangria. And I took that first sip, And not only did I enjoy it, but I thought to myself, I'm doing something that he doesn't know about. I'm doing something he doesn't know about, and damn it, he's never gonna know. And that was one of the most empowering things I've ever done. That was like one of my most powerful moments. It sounds dumb to some people, and that's fine, but for me, that was a big step considering the situation I had just gotten out of. And I just thought, this feels good to do something that he doesn't know about, and he's never going to know about. And that was great. And then and then I remember that night I started back with my yoga. I started back with my belly dance. I started back exercising. I started eating right. I started changing everything, and I went back to doing things I loved, and it just, everything changed. But like that one little move, doing something that I knew he was never going to find out about, was like the best thing ever. And it's okay that it was a small step. A lot of people would laugh at me. Oh, it's just a fucking sip of wine. But considering the way it had been with him, that was all I needed was that little. So can you imagine having something that small that felt that good compared to all the big things I did later after that really were big? How great that felt. I'm telling you. So, like I say, let yourself enjoy the little ass things you do. Let yourself enjoy that. Let yourself appreciate that shit. It matters. That is a building block. I don't care if it's a little one, it's still a block. Peace of mind is kind of the same thing. That's what the freedom brings, peace of mind, because now you don't have somebody bugging the shit out of you about whatever you're doing. You don't have somebody sitting there telling you you're wrong, or that you're a bad person, or that you need a lot of work, which is what I heard. You really need to work on yourself. And I was like, excuse me? What? Here I am, a women's empowerment coach now. So it's like, but I mean, yeah, I agree. And now looking back, I think, you know what? They were right. I did need to work on myself. I need to work on my self-esteem, because I was fucking around with those losers when I should have been telling them to go straight to hell. So yeah, I did need work on myself. That's true. So, looking back, they were actually right when they said that, but it was just for different reasons. I remember one time I had an argument with him, and I forgot what the hell we were arguing about, but I remember standing like facing my closet, looking at my clothes and stuff. And he was telling me something, and I understood, like I had the capacity to understand what he was saying to me, but I just didn't agree with him. I didn't agree with it. I thought he was wrong. I just forgot what the hell. I wish I could remember what it was, but it's been too long. I don't remember anymore. And I remember being on the phone with him, and I said, look, you're not listening. I understand what you're saying. I comprehend it. My capacity is not that of a 2-year-old. Like, I know what you're telling me. I just think you're wrong. I just don't agree with you. And he, I swear to God, it was dead silent. Dead silent. Whoa. Oh. Okay, goodbye. I don't remember if that was like closer to me leaving him or what. I don't remember what time period that was, but the peace of mind of not having to please somebody else every 5 minutes and worry about what somebody else thinks of you every 5 minutes. That is so liberating. That's so liberating. No stress, and that can just change your life. That alone can change your life. Loving yourself. Okay, so you can develop into this. If I can do this, you can do it. Loving yourself. So like I say, you start with the little self-respect things here and there that like kind of build you up. And loving yourself is seeing that you are so much more than what you've been taught. And you have to start reminding yourself that the shit you've been told about yourself, or you've been allowed to believe about yourself, is not true. Just because it comes out of someone else's mouth or someone else's teachings, and in your childhood or wherever, does not make it true. So many people still believe shit their parents taught them. um, People talk about their toxic traits or whatever when they try to like admit to something. I think mine, I don't think I know. Mine would be that I still feel like I need my mother's validation because of the way she has instilled some things in me. She has me convinced that she thinks I'm some awful person who's like hiding some deep dark secret about how I'm gonna put myself first and not look out for her, and shit like that. And that's never been the case, ever, 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 ever. And when things got bad after Dad died, I just went into survival mode, and I took care of the group. Well, that's a woman's job anyway. But I mean, I have never. Looking back, I just don't see how I've done anything in my life that would make her think that I would put my own well-being so far above. But I wouldn't put it above hers at all. But for her to think that I'd put mine so far above hers that I might abandon her, or just I guess roll her down a hill in a cardboard box after she dies. I don't know what the hell she thinks. But she'll let out little snippets, little tidbits, every now and then, if we're having the right conversation, to let me know that she thinks that I'm just gonna, let her fall into the sea, I suppose. I don't know. I don't know. But in the back of my mind, there are still parts of me that rush up to the surface and say, "Oh no, you got to make sure she knows you're not really going to do that," And there are times when I get pissed off and I just like go on a little rant, and I try to make her understand that I'm not really a bad person. I'm not really some cold, stone cold heartless bitch. I know I'm not. But when it comes to her, I still feel like I have to prove that sometimes, which is so fucking stupid, because all I do all day long is help people because I want to. So what am I having to prove again? Like, remind me. So, but just because I think that doesn't mean it's true. So my little lesson that I have to learn is to quit worrying about it. And that I am a good person, damn it. And that my intentions are pure. I sit on here and tell y'all all kinds of shit. I don't have anything to hide. I mean, I've run my mouth about all kinds of stuff. I don't hold back. And for somebody that close to me to have such an assumption about me is appalling, if I'm totally honest. And I am. But anyway, so we all have something that we're dealing with. So don't feel bad. I do not have it all figured out. I'm working on shit too. I think about it a lot. I've been thinking about that a lot lately. So, yeah. So don't let anybody have you thinking, that you're not who you are, or that you're not a good person, or that that you're of no value, because that's not it. That's not it. Look at your intentions that you have throughout your day, and ask yourself about your intentions, and ask yourself about why you do the things you do. When you're doing something, when you're doing anything, stop and ask yourself, why am I doing this? And look at what your answer is, and that'll tell you whether or not, if you're, a bad person. You're probably not. So, most people, I think, are okay, and I think most people do have good intentions. So the brainwashing, it's a lot to work through. It's so much to work through. But once you get to the self-love gold nugget, once you find that, it's going to go right there in your crown, and you're going to be all right. So, but anyway, and that's a big part of, my one-on-one programs. And also, a big part of the healing the feminine, the wounded feminine, my online course. That whole thing, that's like pages of figuring yourself out and figuring out how to love yourself, and just like undoing all the programming so that you can just start with a clean slate, because women have all these ideas about what they're supposed to be and all this other shit, and like no one explains those things to us. They just tell us what we have to do, if we want to get by and if we want to survive. Oh, well, if you want to get by, you need to do this. Well, you're not going to get away with that, and fuck all that, for real. So, yeah, loving yourself, I know that's a huge step, but it can be done. It's a hard journey, but it can be done. And once you get there, you'll see that it was all worth it. So don't get down about it. And finally, you take no shit from anyone. So this is your boundaries, right? This is you saying no. And it's you letting yourself realize what you're going to stand for and what you're not going to stand for. Somebody disrespects you, talks to you like shit. One time I was at Busch Gardens and I was pushing my son in the baby stroller, and he was like a year old. Or almost a year old. And I made the mistake of wearing spandex pants that day and a long sleeve shirt. It was Halloween. Or right about Halloween. And I was walking through the crowds with the stroller, and some big dumbass behind me swiped his hand up my crack like a fucking credit card machine. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to do that. And I didn't stand up for myself, and I didn't correct it, and I didn't start yelling, and I didn't point him out, and I didn't report him, and I didn't, I didn't do anything. I just kind of shrugged and kept walking because I believed him, because I had no sense of self, which means I had no boundaries, which means I didn't understand when someone was disrespecting me. Had no view of that, And if my father had been there, he would have strangled him, but poor dad had already died, and I just had nobody looking out for me. And, that was it. But I mean, that, it's just shit like that, you can either let it happen. Well, they're going to do that anyway. They're going to do that anyway in public. Any opportunity to accidentally, touch your crotch, they're going to take it. And it seems to be getting worse and worse. With the articles coming out from fucking Psychology Today talking about the strange rise in lonely single men. And then they do shit like that in public and wonder why we don't want to fool them anymore. But I can't get on that. We'll be here all night. I gotta save that for another time. But the boundaries thing, let me tell you, and that is in every part of your life, not just strangers touching you when they shouldn't. But that is, your manager pushing you to do more hours, or come into work when they know you've got a doctor's appointment that day or whatever. That's any part of your life where you should be allowed to say, no, I'm not going to do that. Just say no, and women especially are not taught this. We are taught to be what everybody needs. And make sure everybody's okay, and make sure this and that and the other work gets done, and it's got to get done because nobody else is going to do it, and we have 2 damn jobs. You have your job you go to if you go, and then you come home and you have your other job. And that other job includes 20 different hats you have to switch around, for the hours you go until you finally get to lay down and go to sleep. So, the boundaries thing, and again, with this, if you have to start small and just say no to like little shit, you can be saying no to something that might be little to somebody else, but might be big for you. Like times when I'd have a manager text me and say, or a coworker text me and say, I'm not feeling good. I'm going home. Can you come in and finish my shift? No, not really. I know it's your day off, but can you? No. Don't let them do that to you. Don't let them do that to you. That's bullshit. It's your damn day off. Have your day off. And unless you like really want the extra money or something and you're feeling okay and you feel like going in, then fine. But if you want to say no, or if you're not sure about something, damn it, you say no. Period. Don't let anybody push you around like that. I don't care what it is. If it's a relative that's making you feel obligated or making you feel guilty, and that happens a lot, especially parents, they'll guilt trip, their grown children, into doing stuff or not abandoning them or whatever, and funny enough, it lots of times comes from parents who were neglectful to their children to start with. And then when you're 30 something, they look at you and say, oh, well, you better be glad I blah, blah, blah. No, I didn't choose for you to push me out. That was you. You did that. So don't let anybody do that shit to you. If you want to start little, with things that seem little but actually turn out to be kind of big for you, start with whatever you want, but you learn how to say no. A lot of women, and I was under this influence, are taught to give men a chance, give him a chance. He's so nice, give him a chance. And they end up dating men they don't fucking want. They end up dating men they're not interested in. I did a YouTube video about this because it's such a hot topic, and sadly, it's a big topic. There's a lot of women who are raised to, most of us are raised to kind of do what men want and to go along with what they insist on, because if we don't, we won't survive. That has turned out to not be true. Newsflash. But anyway, so, but one of those issues is giving him a chance. Giving him a chance. Oh, well, he's never going to have this. He's never going to have anybody like you ever again. Why can't you just give him a chance? He can't get anybody. Stop. You don't have to give anybody a damn chance for shit. You don't have to do that. Why? Give him a chance. Why? For what? So he can have a time of his life? Okay. Well, he can get on a roller coaster and do that. Well, why does that involve me? Why is that my problem now? You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be your problem. It doesn't have to be. You cannot sit here and feel sorry and try to make up for other people's shit, just because they seem like they're not going to have this or that or the other. That cannot be your problem. Women have got to realize this. It can't be your problem. You already have enough to fuck with. You already have enough. You got to clean up after everybody. You got to make sure everybody's got something to eat. You got to make sure homework's done. You got to make sure this. You got to make sure. You got to make sure. You got to make sure. You got to check. You got to check. Okay, you're doing enough. You're doing enough. You don't need to feel like, you've got to give so-and-so a chance because, he's so nice. Well, if he's so nice, why can't he get a girlfriend to start with? So something's wrong. And if you don't feel like doing it, then don't fucking do it. I can't tell you the boyfriends I had that I just didn't want to be with because I was taught to just give them a chance. And I was miserable. And, I don't live that lifestyle anymore, so I have a lot of peace and quiet now. But that's just one of those things that just doesn't have to be done. So men's problems do not necessarily have to be your problems. Keep that in mind. And that's it. That's the end of that list I had made. That could go on forever though. We could do this all night talking about the things in your life that you can change, get away from the narcissist and just rebuilding yourself, and just reclaiming your identity and who you really are, and seeing yourself for how great you really are, because they really tear you down, and no one needs that. Nobody needs that. It's good for you to look at yourself and look at your habits and things you're doing that might be getting in your way, but not in the way that they do it. Not like how they communicate it. It's not the same. Being honest with yourself about, things like the story you tell yourself about yourself and things like that, that's important to look at, because that's something that you are doing, that may or may not be working for you. And that, yeah, but not, you're just a bad person, blah, blah, blah. That's bullshit. You shouldn't be telling yourself that. So anyway, that's just a list of a few things that you can do, that can happen for you when you rebuild your life, after the narcissist. And so like I say, in my 12-week program, I wasn't sure if I was going to have a 12-week program. I thought about it for a long time. I was like, oh yeah, I'm just going to do 12 weeks, because a lot of people need 12 weeks to really just revamp and really turn around their whole life. Because some people, some women are just left in the dust by these clowns, and sometimes, they just don't know where to start. I felt that way, like I had no idea what I was going to do with myself. But that first sip of wine was step one. And it's not like I'm some raging drunk, I'm not. It never turned into that. It was just wanted to do something he didn't know about, and it felt good. Felt good as hell. So, like I say, little steps. But anyway, I've got spaces open for the 12-week program, of course. There's payment plans for that, so don't stress that. And I do payment plans for all of the 1-to-1, the 3-week, the 6-week, and the 12-week programs with me. So, whatever your situation is, we'll figure something out. Don't let that get in the way. I'm flexible. So, anyway, let me know if that was helpful. And, if you have any ideas to throw my way or questions you want to ask me, by all means, let's do it. I'm probably going to do another live where I just answer some questions, like live. Usually I'll take questions in my inbox and then like answer them, I'll write them down and like answer them as I go on videos. But, I might go live eventually and just let y'all just kind of like throw stuff at me, and we'll just go from there. So I hope that was helpful, and I hope that was insightful and really brought you some clarity and gave you some direction. And like I say, if you want to go deeper and really figure things out and figure out who you are and see how much there is to love in you, then I'm more than ready to go one-on-one with you. So, just get in touch with me, and we'll see what we can do, okay? So thanks for watching.